Later on, I would go and pay. Then it happened when I stopped. A frozen bird fell with a plop.
My family is waiting for me.
A frozen bird fell with a plop. Who flung this turkey at me? Who flung this turkey at me? What's going on? Didn't you see? Someone threw a turkey at me. Yeah, disco garbage can, everybody. Yeah, lift your lid. Disco garbage can. Yeah, do the disco garbage can. Who threw that ham at me? Who threw that ham at me? Hey, didn't anybody see? Who threw that ham at me? Who threw that ham at me? Disco garbage can, everybody. Yeah, get down. Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, go for it, baby. Yeah, that's really great. Well, everybody, I've made my scene here at the disco tonight, so I'm going on to the next disco. Hopefully, I'll see you there.
Hey guys, Dave Darren here. Tonight's probably going to be more like a monologue type of show because it was 105 degrees today. And to be honest, I want to get in the pool with my dog. So it's probably going to be quick and dirty. And let me see if I can pull this up, what we're going to talk about today. All right, so here we go. Dave Darren's conspiracy theory number 1, or 101. Let me call it that. Let me widen this a little bit so you can read along with me. Follow the bouncing ball, all right? See if I can make this even wider so you guys can see what we're going to talk about. I'm going to kind of read these things. All right, so here I think I got it centered on the screen. But we've all seen stuff recently. And let me grab my phone number off of this since we're not going to really use that tonight. We've all seen this stuff on coronavirus. And we've all understood it to some degree. But have we really understood it in its totality? And there was a video, and I was watching some video earlier, I think it was today and yesterday, of people talking about Fauci, Dr. Fauci, the guy all over this coronavirus thing. And, you know, I was thinking about it, and I was watching the video, and they said, you know, he was guilty of donating money to China to do experimental studies with animals and all that stuff. And they attribute a lot of the failures of the initial AIDS, or not actually the failure, but the late introduction of the AIDS vaccine or the AIDS treatment. I don't know if it's a vaccine or what it is. But there was a delay in that, the H1N1 issue and now the coronavirus. They were saying, you know, Fauci is not as sharp as we think he is. And you put a video like that on YouTube, and you know what happens? It gets pulled down. And it gets pulled down because there is no freedom of speech. Now, of course, YouTube and Facebook are not places where you would expect freedom of speech because they're owned by entities. So, when their company is owned by entities, they get to put whatever they want to put out. It's just like you walk into a restaurant, they have the right to serve you as a customer. So, I was thinking about conspiracy theories, and I don't really do conspiracy theories. In fact, I don't really listen to conspiracy theories. I remember Art Bell was one that brought up conspiracy theories, and I wasn't really in tune to the conspiracy theory parts of his show. I was more interested in people calling in, truck drivers talking about the UFO that they saw, which helped keep me alive when I was driving from Philadelphia to Connecticut. But here's my conspiracy theory, all right? The New World Order. Now, we've been talking about this a lot. Sorry you don't see my face. Do you want to see my face while I'm talking to you, or you do not want to see my face? I'm not sure. There's my face. You don't want to see me because I'm not looking handsome tonight. Because, by the way, I'm not sunburned. Now I'm getting suntan. And I got sunburnt a couple days ago when you saw me with my Jeep in the beginning of this program where the glass shattered in the back. Guy comes to fix the glass in the back of my Jeep because there's a crack in it, and he ends up with more than a crack, glass all over the place. Actually, 1,000 pieces of glass all over the place because, there should be a law against tempered glass because when it shatters, it shatters. You can never, ever, I don't think it's possible to pick up every piece of glass. It can't be possible because it's all over the place. They even vacuum. You saw me out there with a vacuum cleaner if you were following the rest of, I didn't record that part, but I was out there literally with a vacuum cleaner picking up every piece of glass that I could pick up. So you see my face, you see what I look like tonight, right? All right, so Conspiracy Theory 101. Here we go, New World Order. Now here's where I start. I start this off from like decades ago. Let's talk about when I was a kid. I think maybe I was the last generation of kids that went to elementary school and junior high and in high school that wasn't educated totally by liberals. As soon as I left, the liberals stepped right in. And this is what I got to say about the liberals. Our young are liberally educated to believe, I should say believe, I should have corrected that before I got on here tonight, to believe our government and to want more and more control by that government. Now, what the heck do I mean by that? If you guys want to talk about this amongst chat, you can do it. But you talk about children going to school, liberally educated. I talked about this from one point, and I'll bring up another point, but I told you in Arizona we have these school zones, and they're not elementary school. I'm not talking about elementary. I'm talking about junior high. So the kids are like 12 or 13 years old. You know what they have there? They've got 25-mile-an-hour speed limits there, all right? And they put them there, and they've got still, even when you're in junior high, they still have the crossing guards. They've got, and you see I put them here. Well, actually, it's 15 miles an hour in elementary school. And for junior high, it's 25 miles an hour. So I upped it by 10 miles an hour to be more accurate, right? And by the way, if you go through one of those speed limits in the school area, not only is your fine the typical $250, by the way, that's what it is in Arizona for speeding, they double it. So it's a $500 fine if you go over the speed limit in the school zone. And the speed limit in junior high is 25 miles an hour. Crossing guards are there. Police are there. They got police in the parking lot of the school parking lot. They got speed bumps there. They got school buses. Now, what is that? And we got the kids in there who are being liberally educated just to defer all of their personal responsibility at that very, very young, impressionable age to not worry about anything at all when they're crossing the street because they've got all these obstacles there. So the effect is that they take the responsibility that they should have taught by my parents. My parents told me when I cross the street, I got to think that everyone's there to run into my ass and kill me right there on Broad Street in Philadelphia, going to the subway to go to school in the morning. I was taught by my parents that I better watch both ways because I'm such an ugly guy that they put a little target in the back of my shirt so that I am actually targeted to be hit. All right, so here we got the responsibilities taken away. And we should be taught by our parents to be careful. Now they cross deferring that responsibility to laws and government rather than taught wisdom and common sense. Again, the government intervention and the protection by laws and government. That's what I see here. That's what our young people are taught. They're taught a liberal education. They're not taught common sense. They're not taught how to budget because when they get out of school, you got the important things in life to deal with. You got to figure out how to buy your first roll of toilet paper in a time when you can't get toilet paper. That's what they should be teaching. Should be teaching the kids at school how to grab toilet paper. That's what they should teach them now. But they're just teaching them to be unaware of their surroundings. So what do? They cross the street on their cell phones. Now I got number 3 here. This is 101 conspiracy theories of how the New World Order has started. We're on number 3 now. Invention of cell phones. Invention of cell phones haven't been out there for all that long. Ironically, the car that I have in my garage, a 92 BMW, it's got a cell phone. It was built into the car. Looks like a James Bond car. So in 92, we had cell phones, but they weren't portable at all. So when did cell phones start? I don't even know. 90, 89, 88, something like that. Big brick you take along with you that you could use in self-defense if you wanted to at that point. So let's think about number 3 item. Invention of cell phones to keep our young connected to their peers. How many people are calling their parents? They're calling their peers. They're sending them advice to go out and have pizza. They're sending their peers what they had for lunch. So all that bullshit. And by the way, the peer pressure to be on your cell phones is enormous. If you're a kid nowadays and you're not on your cell phone, you know what? You ain't cool. So you got to be on your cell phone to look cool. That's the whole idea of the cell phone for our young generation. Is not that they need them. They got them to look super cool and connected so they can have more and more friends because they're the cool people to be with, right? Invention of cell phones to keep our young connected to their peers who are liberally educated and controlled and separated from their families, not physically but emotionally distance, seeking their friends to drive their development. That's what I see. I see cell phones and cell phone to cell phone is peer-to-peer, child to child, kid to kid. They get home and then what are they? They're so distant from their parents and they don't give a crap about their parents. And all they want to do is get on the phone and talk to their friends and their buddies who are all educated in that same liberal construct. So they're all taught to be dependent on each other, dependent on their young counterparts and the peers that they hang around with. And the schools teach them the liberal education of taking no responsibility. In fact, I'll give you another example. My wife used to teach piano at this place called Girls Inc. 2 of the kids had a fight. You know what happened? They called the 2 parents in. And the 2 parents had a fight because each one of them saying it was not my son's fault. It was his son's fault. It wasn't my son. And back and forth and back and forth. If it was me and my parents were called in there, as soon as I got out of that school, my ass would be pounded and spanked because I should know not to hang around with dickheads. That's the way it was when I grew up. I was taught, you know what, Dave, you may be right, but here's your spanking just to be taught. Don't hang around with douchebags and dickheads. And here's your lesson to be taught from that. But now you can't even spank kids anymore, right? The whole thing is totally fucked up. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in now with Conspiracy Theory 101, the New World Order, which is taking place at a very young age by our individual students, young kids being taught to be liberal and dependent on government. Otherwise, they can't survive in life unless they have the government. I'm not taking calls right now. I'm sorry. Hang on a bit. All right? I want to get through my lecture here. In fact, I might need to even take calls tonight because I just want to be the guy that's doing a Michael Savage, if you remember him, or a Rush Limbaugh thing where I'm talking about shit that I want to talk about. I want to get this off my chest. And a lot of people won't agree with me, and I really don't care who agrees with me anymore because this has become my show, all right? Here's my agenda. Here's my theory. Here's my conspiracy theory of what I think has brought us to this New World Order, which is now escalating to the point that I don't even think we can control it anymore. I think it's out of hand, and I thank God I'm 61 because I won't have to deal with it for a whole lot longer. And the people that are watching the program here, if you got young kids, or if you're younger in your 30s or 40s, you know what? Your ass are going to have to deal with this shit. And you should have been on guard to make sure this shit isn't on your plate. And unfortunately, it's on your plate more than it's on my plate. So this is kind of a warning. And the way that I can see this little puzzle of how things have gotten to the way they are. This has been a puzzle. I patched back these puzzle pieces to match tonight's program. So like I said, young people being taught liberal education for government to control their lives and supervise their lives and make sure that their lives go quite well. Another phone call. I'm not answering yet. I said I'm not answering, all right? I'll get to it eventually. Next one. Okay, so cell phones. Like I said, cell phones are now connecting peer-to-peer, kid to kid, child to child, and they go home and what's the first thing they want to do? They want to grab as much food as they can quickly so they get on the phone talk to their friends at school who are all the liberal collective of people that are all like-minded in their minds because they were brainwashed by liberal education, all right? Jump down to number 4. I know you guys don't see my face. I'll let you see my face for a couple seconds, and here I'm back. All right, number 4. Make sure I got centered on the screen. Number 4. We got the stay at home. There's the hashtag stay at home. You turn on any channel at all, anything. I happen to watch Me TV. What am I watching on Me TV? I'm watching Green Acres. I think that's a hell of a funny show. So I'm watching Green Acres, and they got on the commercials, they got stay at home. Hashtag stay at home. Watch Me TV, all right? Stay at home. Keep us home, bombarded with COVID-19 news provided by agenda-driven media and agenda-driven social media. And remember, in number 4, the one above, actually it's number 3 now since I moved the order a little bit, the cell phones provide that source of 24/7 media saturation. So like I said, we're all locked into our homes. We're staying at home. We're separated from anyone else that we could possibly talk to except for on our cell phones. And our cell phones are connecting us and connecting the young people to their young friends who have been brainwashed to be liberals and government to take over their lives and make sure that they're guided appropriately. And and when you're at home, stuck at home, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're on the internet. You're seeing news driven on the internet by people that have an agenda. Their agenda is to perpetuate this government-controlled society, and that's what we're staying at home to witness. We are witnessing the horrors of what the United States will become because we're not on our guard. You're watching an experiment take place and how much our lives can be controlled, and it's being controlled by this fabricated COVID-19 virus driven by media with their media agenda and social media agenda, and even commercials that are driven to a social media agenda. All the stay-at-home commercials, all the commercials saying we sympathize with you, you're staying home. They want you to stay home. That's the whole thing. Number 5 here, continue social distancing. Keep us apart so that those that can still think individually are not in contact with other thinkers. I'll read that again because this is pretty important. Continued social distancing. That's what we got now is continued social distancing. Keep us apart so that those that can still think individually are not in contact with other thinkers. The only bonds are media, social media, and news. We are limited in that human touch of each other, and the emotional bonds are broken. That's what's going on here. We can't talk to friends. We can't go out. We can't socialize. We can't take our dogs for walks, see other people that might have a different opinion than we do, but we may see people that have the same opinion we do, but we cannot mix and match those opinions with others because we're separated from them. And the bonds that we have now are TV, social media, and those bonds are being they're brainwashing us. They're fabrications of facts. And we're being brainwashed to be controlled by our government, by world governments, to be controlled and directed to become more socialized. In fact, you see it. If you are now unemployed, you are being controlled by government and watered down by government and supported by government with your unemployment insurance and that little $600 kicked-in bonus to keep you somewhat subdued and somewhat content and somewhat controlled by government because they're paying you. They're paying your salary right now. They are paying your salary. To do what? Stay socially isolated so that they can continue to brainwash you and continue to make you think that the government is on your side when the government is actually manipulating you with this virus, this bogus virus, with every intent of keeping you controlled by them, controlled by fellow peers who have all been brainwashed by liberal education, and the people that you're most in contact with are your peers, because most of these people are young people, because remember I said my generation was the last generation to be not liberally educated. Everyone else past me was liberally educated. Who are you reaching out to? You're reaching out to your peers and your friends who all are of same like in education, in understanding, of total brainwash to believe that what we've got going on now is the best of America, when what we've got going on now is the decline of America. All right? Where did I get? I left off on number 6. They're keeping us scared by wearing masks. You know, when you see masks, what's the first thing you think of? You think fear, you think robbery, you think something's wrong. You see a mask and you're scared. They want to continue to keep us scared. How do they do that? Based upon social media on TV telling you that there's all these horrors going on in the street. Massive amounts of people are dying. Massive amounts of people that are healthy are dying, and it's not the case that I'm reading. I'm reading that most people that are healthy, that have strong immune systems, still strong because they are going out and breathing the air with all the virus and disease in the air to keep your immune system in tune. It's like you tune up your car. You're tuning up your body by keeping it into the Earth's environment, not in your closed environment of your home, isolated from all of the natural germs, bacteria, to keep your body's immune system in constant control of your body. We are now taking our bodies outside of the things that we need to keep it inundated with things that are dangerous to our bodies, and so our bodies and natural immune system can fight it off because they're on guard. They're on guard. Now our immune systems, if you're isolated, your immune systems are no longer on guard. They are weakening. And now we've got people in masks, which are also contributing to fear factors. You got masks on. Masks are a scary thing to see. They are a scary thing to see on individuals. You see masks when Halloween, bank robberies. That's when you see masks. Zombies on TV, you see them wearing masks. It's a scary thing to see people wearing masks. These are open reminders and constant reminders that we are sick. With sick amongst us. I'll read it again. Keep us scared by wearing masks. Open reminders and constant reminders that we are sick with sick amongst us. Number 7, we can, and thanks to Sparky for putting this one out here. Sparky, a frequent listener to the show. We can strengthen our immune systems. There's nothing being mentioned how and what practices are working against us instead. In fact, social distancing weakens our immune system by removing our bodies from natural daily intrusions. We keep our bodies in tune with defense. What I've personally done, and my wife has personally done, is I've doubled up on my exercise routine. In fact, recently, a couple of years ago, we eat only vegetables. We don't eat meat anymore. Fish, another thing we eat a lot, to strengthen our bodies. And I've been doubling up on I exercise in the morning. We walk our dog in the morning. Then I come home and I pump weights. Then at this time, right now, if I wasn't doing the show, I'd be pumping weights again. After the show tonight, I'm going to go out swimming in the pool, doing a few laps in the pool. As soon as my dog and I are finished swimming, I'm going to come in. I'm going to pump iron again before I go to sleep tonight. I did double exercise. I did an immense amount of exercise to keep my immune system strong, strengthened, because my body is eating the right food, the right nourishment, and I'm getting substantial exercise both in muscle tone and cardiovascular. And I'm doing this by also going out and breathing in all of the crap that you breathe in a daily day by walking the streets, all the bacteria, all of the things that are hostile to my body. I'm absorbing into my body because my immune system is strong enough to defend it, and I don't want to weaken it by being isolated in the home. So I am not exposed to the natural things that I need exposure to keep my body in tune with the healing process that my body is capable of doing. All right. Number 8, and this is yesterday, so I should say yesterday. I put this today because I was going to talk about this yesterday, but I'm talking about it today. Yesterday I heard Pfizer. You're familiar with Pfizer, right? The chemical, or the they make a lot of medicines, right? Pfizer. And by the way, a lot of our medicines come from China. I'm going to get to that one in a second too. So yesterday I heard Pfizer is testing a vaccine. Amazing! The vaccine might come so quickly. Isn't that amazing to you that, how long did it take to get the AIDS cure? And it's not really a cure, it's an ability to live with AIDS. It's not eliminating AIDS from your body. It's giving your body an ability to live with AIDS and be productive with AIDS and survive with AIDS within your body, all right? That's what it is. And the flu vaccine is a vaccine that's in your body to protect you from the flu virus. However, is it really protecting you? It mutates every year. They give their best guess into what strain of the flu is coming out. And do we really know what's in these vaccines? Do we really know what is in the vaccine? That's what I got here now. So I said yesterday, Pfizer is testing a vaccine. They're doing human testing on this vaccine. Amazing that the vaccine is coming so quickly. What is in the vaccine? I want to know that. Is there a product that controls human thought within this vaccine or within future vaccines? You know, they want to start shoving vaccines. They want to make vaccines now mandatory. You hear this on the news. You hear it from Bill Gates. Mandatory vaccines is the best thing for humans. Did we ever read any of these science fiction things? 1984, Brave New World. Did we ever read those books from a long time ago? Of course not, because they're not part of liberal education. They don't want to have those books taught. They don't want to have those books read where you understand and you're given a test to see how much of that book you understood. Of course not. But vaccines, and they're talking about this in a lot of the science fiction books you read about human control, what they are injecting into your body is not something that you need or want in your body. It's something that the government that wants to control you wants inside your body. That's what they want. That's why they want mandates of vaccines. Do you know personally, do you know what's in the vaccines that are within your body? If you took the flu shot, do you know what's in that? Do you know what chemicals are in that? What those chemicals do? When you get a bottle of medicine from the medicine cabinet, you read it. Do you see every single side effect? You get on TV, you see side effects that are on the TV commercials for all of the drugs that you take and the chemical risk you take, the side effects. When you take a vaccine, do they tell you what the side effects are? Do they tell you what's in them? Of course not, because they don't want to tell you, because eventually, if not already happening, in those vaccines, in my opinion, is an ability to dumb down America, mellow their attitudes towards being controlled so that they can be controlled more easily. And this is not something I've thought of. You see it on programs, you see it on science fiction shows where the drugs are used to mellow the person out that's on that table strapped down so they do not fight the obstructions that are being done to their bodies, the mind control that's being done to their bodies. You see it in all of these TV programs. You saw it on TV programs. Now you know where we're seeing it? We're seeing it in our lives right now. It's no longer TV programs. It's no longer science fiction. It's reality. It's reality. Let's see. So I said, is this product that controls human thought, limits our resistance to being controlled? Do we know? Do we know what's in the vaccine? Will we ever know, or will there be laws and mandates requiring mandatory vaccines? That is in the works. Absolutely in the works. I'll underline this. Absolutely in the works. We see it. Where do we see it? Bill Gates. We see it. We see it every day. We see Fauci talking about the vaccines. We talk about a vaccine's coming soon. The vaccine seems to be coming a lot sooner. Why is that? Because right now the momentum is in their favor. They want a vaccine quickly because now they've got us under their control. They see that their control is working. They've got us isolated, got us in masks. They got us fearful for our lives with COVID-19. They got us staying away from people, crossing the street when we're on the same street that they are. One person will cross the street to be on the other side of the road so that they stay away from us. We don't talk to each other. We don't associate with each other. This is absolutely in the works. Vaccine's coming sooner. I know why it's coming sooner, because right now they don't want to lose their aggressive advantage. Will our current vaccines be changed to add more mind control to them? We've got current vaccines. We've got current vaccines that we take for a variety of things, for Lyme disease, for the flu shot, for allergies. Are all of these vaccines going to be changed and add more mind control elements to them? And we won't know one way or the other what's in them. We won't know what has changed from year to year, 5 years ago to what's in them now, currently, tomorrow, and what's in them when we're mandated to take them. Do we know what's in them? Do we have the right to know what's in them? Will we ever honestly know what's in them? How many of us are going to bring the vaccine home and study the contents? How many of us have that capability? How many of us have that capability? Zero. The people that have those capabilities, you know what? They're being silenced. In fact, I told you, there was a woman talking about Fauci and the the detriment he's provided to society for being someone that is awarded with all of these credentials and beliefs that he's the great thing, he's the great scientist, he's the great health healer. When you see something that's to the contrary, and you know what happens? It's eliminated from YouTube twice. I saw it twice yesterday. I can't see it anymore, although I can because I downloaded that shit. I want to make sure I've got it, and I may very well air it tomorrow and risk my YouTube or my Facebook channel being shut down because I want this story out there. I want this story out there even though YouTube and Facebook prohibits it. All right, so I say here, what did I say? How many of us are going to bring the vaccine home and study the contents? We can't, and anyone that attempts to do that, like the doctor in that video I told you is now brought down, that person can't study the contents and get the contents of that out. You know why? They're being silenced. Their rights to get their information out there are being cut down, chopped, and brought to its knees because the government and the world governments and these people don't want it out there. They want everything silenced. I put here, we trust our government, world government. Remember, many of our drugs come from China. Don't we know that? A lot of our drugs come from China. Where did this start? Where did coronavirus start from? COVID-19, where did this start from? We've seen reports, although we see them only for short moments until YouTube or Facebook takes them out of our lives. We see information of this coming from China. We see information that Dr. Fauci is in cahoots with China to do animal-human experimentation. And once we see that on YouTube, it's taken away. But remember, a lot of our drugs are coming from China. The drugs that are supposed to be curing us are coming from China. The virus that is killing us is coming from China. The deception is coming from China and world governments. That's why I put here, world government is deceiving us. Do you trust them? Do you trust China? Do you trust China? Do you trust China in any way whatsoever? Did you watch the Olympics from China? We had the Olympics from China not that long ago. Did you see the robotic motions of those people? I was sitting there with my wife. The first thing I told my wife is, look at them. They look like robots. And if you don't believe me, I'll have to air that. I'll have to put it out there on my next broadcast because I do have it. When you look at that group of people, you saw them walking in such a controlled pattern. It looked like it was a machine weaving product, weaving cotton into a fabric, into something you would wear. That was the precision. You saw rows of people going in one direction. You saw an alternative row of people on a tangent to them going another direction. And you saw each individual person did not touch. They were with inches of each other, but they did not touch the other human being next to them because of the controlled robotic movement of these Chinese people in the Olympics. When they did the opening ceremony, first thing I thought was, my God, these people are robots. If they can control that robot movement as an aggressive force to attack the world, they've got the mechanism of humanity in control, but not humanity, human robots. They looked like androids. They were that controlled in their action. It was a scary thing to witness. If you don't believe it, if you happen to record the Olympics from China, play back the opening ceremony. I've got it, and I will play it tomorrow on another broadcast. Or if I don't do a broadcast tomorrow, the next broadcast I do, I will bring up and I will show you that opening ceremony from China and the robotic motions that they had, the control of those people. If they control those people on the entertainment circuit, which to them, Olympics is not entertainment. To them, Olympics is a war. They control those people in the Olympics. From what I've heard and what my wife's told me, if those people don't win, they suffer consequences of not being the best that they could be. And I don't know if that part's true, but I know that I saw those Olympics and I saw those people control like robots. Precision of robots, precision of a machine. If they take that human machine and turn it into an aggression, we're going to have something substantial to worry about. And we do. We have it already. We have to worry about this coronavirus, COVID-19, which came from China, controlled by China, controlled by world governments, contributed to by Fauci and our World Health Organization, WHO. We see all of this control. with our minds being blinded because we are now taught to be liberals. We are taught a liberal education. We are taught that the best thing for us is government control. That is what's best for us. And vaccines are also what's best for us. Control by government, dependence on government, controlled by vaccines, and mind control is the mindset of the New World Order. And I've seen it, and I'm detailing it here. I've detailed it from number 1 to number 8 so far. We're going to go to number 9. Contact tracing. I saw something on the news today. I forget who sent it to me. And in some state, was it Montana or something like that? Contact tracing. From what I heard is what contact tracing is, if you don't know what it is, that is a person has contracted COVID-19. Then they extend almost like a fishnet over that person to see who that person has been in contact with over a certain amount of time. They reach out to those people that they have been in contact with, whether it be people in their workforce, family, friends, whoever they've met over the course of them having contracted COVID-19. They are getting those people clustered together. And now, I think it was in Montana, I think I saw the news program today. Great program. They announced it is a great program. They said, you know what, this self-isolation and this social distancing is great because it took people that were contacting at least 10 people in a very short period of time. Now, because of social distancing, the people that have COVID-19 in Montana or wherever this was now are limited in their contacts to 4 or 5 people, much less than 10 people. But they want to get those 4 or 5 people that they have been in contact with, and they want to mandate isolation for those 4 to 5 people. In other words, they want to throw them in prison. They want to make the prison their homes, and that's temporary. What is prison going to be eventually? They're going to find people they're going to quarantine them in what? Concentration camps? They're going to mandate that people that have gotten the COVID-19 through these brainwashes of vaccines, almost like a truth serum, they're going to get us to tell who we've contacted. Were we in contact with a girlfriend? Were we in contact with 3 people from work? Were we at a concert where we sat next to 3 people, our best friends? Were we at a coffee shop? We exposed ourselves to 20 people. They're going to round up those 20 people. They're going to throw a fishnet over those 20 people, and they're going to lock them away. And they're doing that now. Can you imagine when they get more of a grip on people? And they've gotten a tremendous grip on people right now, scaring them, making them wear masks, staying isolated from each other, from society. And they have got us scared enough. Now contact tracing is going to make us more in control to surrender our friends, our family, our relationships, so that they now get dragged into being quarantined, mandated quarantine, where supposedly in Montana on a daily basis, they're going to send someone there to make sure that you're still quarantined. Did you hear this? Did you see it? Did you see it today? Because I don't know if it's still out there. It's probably been shut down. Although I don't know, because this was on the liberal news that they were delivering this as a positive thing. Liberal news announced this as a positive thing. Contact tracing is great. It's going to take us and all the people that we've met throughout the course of a certain time when we've contracted this COVID-19. It's a great thing that we're going to make all of those people tell us who they've been in contact with. Then we're going to take those people and we're going to isolate them, all for the benefit of you, until you're the one that's locked down, until you're the one whose freedoms are taken away. It's a great thing from today's media perspective until it haunts your house, haunts your personal life, haunts your family and your friends. Then all of a sudden you're going to say, this is not such a great thing. And you're going to say it. When are you going to say it? You're going to say it when it's too fucking late. That's when you're going to say it. And you're saying that they can't track down everyone. Yes, they can. Cell phones, GPS on your cell phones. They know where you are. They know where I am right now based upon my cell phone. If you think the government doesn't know where you are right now, think again. Go into your pocket, see that cell phone, see that GPS, pump up directions from where you are to your nearest supermarket, and it will know exactly where you currently are to be able to tell you exactly what directions to take to go to Albertsons to go grocery shopping, or Acme if you're in the East Coast. They know where you are now. That's how they can tell how long it takes to get to your destination. Do you think this product was there for the benefit of you to be able to get to your environment, to places where you want to go more quickly? Partially. The other reason it's out there is so that they can figure out where your ass is, and they can pinpoint where your ass is. They can tell what part of the house you are in. If you think I'm joking, think again. Number 10, like I said, today's a monologue, so I'm going to go down to number 10. I got 4 phone calls today, right now, and you know what? I feel like doing this monologue. At the end of it, I'll tell you when I'm down to number 12, and you can then call up and contradict me if you want. Pick an item that you want to contradict me, and I'm on number 10. Today I saw in the news, again, this is not today, this was yesterday. Real estate company. I saw you don't want to go into people's homes now because everyone's scared. They don't want to go into that home because they're afraid someone with the virus was in that home and you're going to get it. If you dare go in there, you better wear a mask. And it's incredible. Today I saw some of the restaurants open up with social distancing, and what they're doing is they're making sure they stay there for only a short period of time of 45 minutes, and they are given the plates by the servers. Servers are maintaining a distance. They're wearing masks because the scare tactic has to be, they're opening restaurants, but maybe they're opening restaurants for this reason. They're opening them up so that when you get to that restaurant, you are continued and still given fear. You go into the restaurant, what do you see? You see all the servers in masks. You see them delivering food on your table by pushing the food as far away from them as they can to where you're sitting. They're making you stay there for a short period of time. You and the table next to you are not the table next to you. There's a distance between you and the next group of people at the table not next to you. They're doing this. They're opening up businesses. I think they're opening them up so that they can continue the fear. They want to make sure that you see fear on a daily basis, whether it's on TV, on social media, on media in general, on commercials between TV programs. If now they want to have you go into a restaurant that's now opened up, but they want to make sure you see the people with masks on. They want to make sure that you know that you're not being served the same way, because they're basically taking a plate, putting it on the table, and pushing it to you. That's the way they want to continue the fear. They want to escalate the fear so that when you finally go out, because you want to go out, what do you see when you go out? You see a continuation, a perpetuation of fear. That's what they want to do, is make sure you see fear. No matter what turn you take and what direction you take, what hand on the clock you take at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or 3 o'clock, in directions I'm talking about, you are going to see fear in every single direction. That's what they want to make sure you are aware of. The continued fear, the scare, the worry, and the benefit of government into your lives to protect you by telling you how to react, how they're going to protect you without you having to even think about yourself and how to protect yourself, building up your immunity system. They don't care about you building up your immunity system. They want to keep your immunity system whacked off to be the minimum protection it can give you, so that you then decide you need the vaccine to keep your immune system boosted. You need the medications that they're going to prescribe to you when you go to a doctor, and he's going to tell you, oh, you got this new chemical out there, this new thing. Take 2 pills a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. What's in that pill? Is it to build up your immunity, or is it to knock down your immunity to your freedoms? That's what they're doing. They're giving you a pill so it knocks down your resistance and your immunity to liberal fanatics who want to control you. It knocks down your ability to fight with your mind and your brain and your logic. You're dumbed down to accept and believe government control, world government control. Where am I now? Number 11. This is less significant, but I just thought of it yesterday. Photo radar cameras. We had them in Phoenix. We had them on highways in Phoenix. We had them on city streets in Phoenix. We had them in a bunch of the different cities: Gilbert, Chandler, Tempe, Phoenix, Paradise Valley, Scottsdale, all the large cities around metropolitan Phoenix. Photo radar cameras, we had them on highways. They were deemed on highways to be unsafe because people were actually slowing down by applying their brakes rapidly, slowing down from 85 miles an hour to 65 miles an hour. They had to drop down 20 miles per hour to avoid the speed cameras, so they were causing accidents. So they removed them from the highways. But do they really care about people in their cars going 65 miles an hour? No, they don't. What they care about is you walking on sidewalks, and they want to make sure that they track you with these photo radar cameras. They've got them out there in cities in Phoenix. They got them in cities in Tempe. Got them in cities in Chandler, in Gilbert, Paradise Valley. They got these cameras, these photo radar cameras. Screw the highways. They don't need to track you down if you're going 65 miles an hour, because they can't keep track of you that precisely. They want to keep track of you when you're walking in the street at that slow pace, so they know where you're going, what you're doing, who you're with, because they want to make sure that they isolate you from the wrong people. Where did we see this? Where did we hear about this? George Orwell, 1984. The government controlling where you are, controlling your means to think by chemical inductions into your body, vaccines into your body, mind control, knowing where you are, precisely where you are, via controlled motion, via knowledge of where you are with these cameras. It's in books. It's been written in books for George Orwell wrote it, 1984. Read that book. Read The Control of People, and read it based upon what's happening now. Last one, number 12, Trump. Why the hatred and agenda to have him removed? Why did they do that? Why all the hatred and the agenda to have him removed? He was not part of the plan. So they focus a huge amount of attacks on him as a distraction and to put doubts in our minds and away from the leader who damages their agenda. We've got someone in there, Trump. He was never supposed to win. It was a shock that he won. He shockingly won. He's been hated. Why? Because his agenda is not the same agenda of the world governments that want to control us. Trump wants to give us the freedoms that we once had. What do? They distract him. They distract us by throwing huge amounts of distractions upon him. Whether it was Russian involvement in the election, collusion. Then we had the impeachment proceedings. Now we've got COVID-19, which is a way of controlling us, throwing us off course, and absorbing Trump in one direction, isolated from everything else that he could ever focus upon, trying to deal with this. And now they use the media and the doubts that they instill upon us by isolating us to make sure that we see their agenda on a daily basis. They've got us under control by taking our one leader who has some degree of common sense, some degree of giving us our freedoms. They're bombarding him with too much to handle, distracting him and distracting us so that they can control us. He is not part of the equation. They want him removed. They want him distracted. They want him disenfranchised. That's what they want. Now, I'm going to get to the next one. The next one's not a point. It's more like a summary. Drag that up here. Now, you might say there's going to be some people maybe even calling on the phone saying, you know what, Dave, there's statistics of people who have died. So isn't this COVID-19 for real? I'll read that again. There's going to be people calling me up. There's probably people talking in chat saying, Dave, are you out of your mind? Don't you watch TV? Don't you see the amount of people who have contracted the virus? The amount of people who have died from this COVID-19 virus? You know what? These are, don't we know what the term acceptable casualties are? I think I'm using not the exact words that the government uses. I forget what the actual wording is. But of course there are people that have died of this COVID-19. That's manufactured in these places in China that have manufactured and massaged this COVID-19 to be destructive to human survival. And what do? They don't target the young people. You know why? You know why COVID-19 does not affect young people? Because those are the people that are already in control. They're already controlled. They've been taught liberal education. They want to get the people that are more dangerous to the young, educated liberals. They want to take out the older people because we are the only ones that are resistant to their thought control. We're the only ones that still maintains some degree of logic within our minds. They want us wiped out so that the young people that they already have control of can continue with this agenda because they're already locked into the agenda. They're locked in, they're controlled, they're manipulated by the agenda that's been instilled upon them from a very young age, where they're the most vulnerable to be exposed to it, understand it, be bombarded with it on a daily basis in school, every day, by the teachers, by their peers, isolated from their parents because they think they teach the kids that they are not part of the family unit. The family unit is school, fellow classmates, and liberal agenda. That is part of that. So when they've got the statistics of people that have died from this COVID-19 plastered all over the screen, you know what these people are that have died of it? They are people that are resistant to control because there are older people in society that are still the ones that are able and want to fight back. And those people are considered acceptable casualties. We hear about this in war. And this is a war. I put in capital letters, this is a war. A war on our freedoms, not county, not city, not state, not country. This is a world war to control humanity at a global level. In war, they calculate acceptable casualties, acceptable risk. People that die and are accounted for and considered, there's going to be death. There's going to be death in any war. There's going to be death in this war. This war is the COVID-19 war on our freedoms. It's a war against society to control us. This is a war. They have calculated acceptable risk in this war. Those that died, just enough died to not cause huge panic, because that panic would disrupt their agenda. If there were a huge amount of people that died, they would not be able to put this agenda in its full effect. We would be distracted by huge amounts of populations that have died. Just enough people have died not to cause huge panic, just enough to disrupt us, to lead us into a panic, but not a huge panic, so we lose focus on what, I'm not making that as clear points as I've made, but those that died, just enough died to not cause huge panic. That would potentially disrupt their agenda, but just enough to make COVID-19 seem real when the real agenda is and was all along control. I'm going to read that again. Just enough to make COVID-19 seem real when the real agenda was/is control. What do you think about these 12 points? I think I nailed them out in perfect order. In perfect chronological order. I've given young people being taught the liberal agenda. I've told you about cell phones and the purpose of cell phones to keep us connected, keep those young people connected with their fellow peers, away from their parents at the dinner table. They want to hop off that dinner table, start talking to their friends who will all have been liberally educated. So any thoughts that go over those cell phone lines are liberal thoughts, liberal agenda. We've now got the stay at home to keep us home, keep us isolated from everything except for media and social media, which bombards us 24 hours a day, including commercials between the news broadcast. Even if you're watching something mindless, even if I'm watching Green Acres on MeTV, the commercials between that on MeTV is saying, you and me, MeTV, are staying at home. Everything is about the coronavirus, and everything is a means of controlling us and manipulating us so that we become part of their collective plan to take us over and control us to the detriment of individuality and independence. We are now controlled to be a unity of robotics, basically. Human control of the human being. I think I've said enough. So now if anyone wants to call, I'm going to give you guys like a couple minutes here. I'm going to take a couple sips of my drink here. And if anyone wants to call now, I'll put the phone number back. It is, where's my phone number? Drag it over. 480-236-2111 if you'd like to call. I will at this point take a sip, take a little step back. If you'd like to have a call, I had a couple callers. Actually, I had like 5 callers. If you want to call now, you have 1 minute. If no one calls in 1 minute, I said my piece. I talked about it. I was very organized about it. You can share this, enjoy it, not enjoy it, because this is not an enjoyable broadcast. I don't like talking about things like this where I think I'm being disenfranchised from the human population. No matter where you go, you're not seeing the togetherness of society, the strength of thought. You're seeing your thoughts controlled and manipulated by what is being fed into our minds via isolation. I don't enjoy this. I'm not having fun tonight doing this. But I wanted to say it because a few days ago when I started writing those 12 points out, or 11 points, I had about 7 of them. And then I was watching the real estate one where they're having, did I skip that one? Real estate people now, what they're going to be doing is a couple of real estate companies are tracking the agents and the clients and making sure they're staying away from each other so that they don't spread or contract the COVID-19 virus. So they're taking your heat signature via some device that they've got to make sure that the client and the real estate agent are maintaining social distance. So they've got this technology out there to separate these two people. And they're practicing, refining, and seeing that this technology works for the purpose of control. This is a horrible shirt, isn't it? Like I said, after this broadcast, I'm going in the pool. I think we do have a phone call right now. Let's take the call on the Dave Barron Show. Hello, this is Dave. What's going on?
Hi, Dave. What's going on with you?
Oh, Terry, how's it going?
Please don't hang up on me. Let me turn you down.
No, you know what? I really want to...
I didn't know that you were going to... Okay, I did. I turned it down. Dave?
Yeah, again, noise in the background. So you know what? Tonight, thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for listening to my commentary. And I think that's all I've got for tonight. You listened to me, you heard it, you heard the commentary. That's all I've got. Check you guys out. Closing moments of the show are right now. Cheaters.
Sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.